We begin, as all myths do, not in comfort, but in the trembling silence before the call. There is a moment in every life, inevitable and yet unpredictable, where the veil between the known and the unknown quivers. You may be walking beneath trees whose branches you've passed 1,000 times, and suddenly the light filters differently. You may hear a whisper not in your ears, but in your soul. This, dear traveler, is the summons. The call to adventure has no time and no place. It may arrive in dreams or tragedies, in falling in love or falling ill, but it always comes to shatter the illusion of safety. To ignore it is to rot. To answer it is to descend. And so the hero, who is each of us, stands at the threshold, trembling. In mythic time, the threshold is often guarded. Cerberus snarls at Hades' gate. The Sphinx blocks the road to Thebes. The flaming sword bars Eden's return. These are not merely monsters, but metaphors of the inner guardian, the part of us that resists transformation, that says, stay, be content with what you know. Do not go into the abyss. And yet, if you do not cross the abyss, it will swallow you whole. For the abyss is not a place, it is a state, a vortex of stagnation. It is the unlived life, the shadow realm where all forsaken dreams, avoided truths, and denied transformations gather, growing in power, whispering our names. The abyss is not the enemy. It is the necessary womb of rebirth. But it will destroy you if you refuse it, to cross the abyss. The hero must first accept the death of the old self. This is not metaphorical. In the rites of passage among the Ndembu, the initiate is symbolically dismembered. In the story of Osiris, the god is torn apart, his limbs scattered across Egypt. Christ too descends into death before the resurrection. The old self must be broken, ego dissolved, persona shed like the snake's skin. You who have heard the call, have you wept yet? If not, the breaking has not begun. Have you found yourself lost, exiled from all maps, clinging to a name that no longer fits? Good. You are entering the forest at the darkest point, where no path has been made. That is the only way forward. This is where the archetypes emerge. The guide, the helper, the talisman, the dragon. Not outside you, but within. The mentor may appear as a monk, a crone, a voice in a dream. The sword may take the shape of truth or love or rage, but none of these things matter unless you go, unless you take the first step into the pit. Consider Inanna, Queen of Heaven, who descended through 7 gates to the realm of her sister, Ereshkigal. At each gate, she was stripped of her royal garments, until she stood naked before death. This is the universal stripping. You will lose your titles, your defense, your masks. You must, because in the underworld, only the essence survives. You are not your job. You are not your past. You are not your reputation, your pain, your triumphs. You are what is left when everything else is burned away. And so the journey continues, not upward, not outward, but inward, deeper. You may encounter tricksters, Loki, Hermes, Coyote. These are not mere mischief makers, but initiators. They confound the rational mind, forcing you to see that logic alone cannot carry you through the abyss. You will be confused. You must be. Only the shattered can be remade. And the shadow, the shadow. It waits. It is not evil. It is you, all that you have repressed, yet condemned. The shadow is the wound and the key. When you meet it, you will want to run. Don't. Sit. Listen. It holds your power. Remember the tale of the Buddha beneath the Bodhi tree. Mara, the demon of illusion, comes to tempt, to terrify, to distract. But the Buddha does not flinch. He touches the earth and claims his place. This is your task, to stay, to face what arises, to say, I am here, for in staying, in enduring, the transformation begins. You do not conquer the abyss. You let it remake you. The cocoon is not conquered by the caterpillar. It is surrendered to. There is agony in this. And grace, eventually though, no map can predict when a light begins to flicker. Not the light of escape, but of emergence. Something new is being born. A self unburdened, a soul awakened. You are no longer the one who began the journey. You carry now the boon, the elixir, the sacred fire. Like Prometheus, you return not for yourself alone, but to light the way for others. You have crossed the abyss. You have not been swallowed. You have been remade. And yet, the journey never ends. For the abyss appears again and again, each time deeper, each time richer, each time more vital. This is the eternal return, the spiral path, the dance of becoming. And so I say to you, fellow traveler, do not fear the abyss. Do not flee the call. Step across the threshold. Lose what you must lose. Die the death that frees you. Cross the abyss, for it is the only way to become who you truly are. But beware, what lies beyond the moment of transformation is not triumph in the way the world understands it. The transformation is quiet, interior, a shift in the tectonic plates of your being. While you may appear the same to others, inside you. Now carry the ancient wisdom of the ones who have died and been reborn. You speak with the voice of myth. Here, in the deep interior, the hero confronts the numinous. Sometimes it comes as union with the Divine Mother, the source of all fertility and dissolution, Isis, Shakti, the Black Madonna, Mary. Their faces are many, but their essence is one that which births and devours. She is not gentle, not always. She is fierce love, ruthless compassion, the cauldron of unmaking. To meet her is to know the unnameable. To drink from her cup is to be unmade again. But now, willingly, and from this union is born the sacred marriage, the alchemical wedding of opposites within the self, the masculine and feminine, the conscious and the unconscious, light and dark, Apollo and Dionysus, Shiva and Kali, all reconciled in the chamber of the soul. It is not a resolution, but a dance. The opposites do not cancel. They create tension, and from tension life, wholeness. Joseph of the Old Testament wrestled with an angel in the night and emerged limping, renamed Israel. He who struggles with God, this is what it means to integrate the divine encounter. You do not emerge unscathed. You emerge marked. Blessed by your wound, the hero now becomes the bearer of the boon. But what is the boon? It is not gold or fame. It is not power in the worldly sense. The boon is consciousness, awareness, a secret flame that illuminates the shadows of others. It may be a story, a healing, a word whispered at the right time. It is the medicine forged in suffering, in endurance, in faith. And so begins the return. But the return is no less perilous than the descent. Remember the tale of Orpheus, who descended to rescue Eurydice. He sang his way past Hades and Persephone, and was granted her release on one condition, that he not look back, but he did, and lost her again. The return must be undertaken with discipline, with fidelity to the gift. Doubt will tempt you to look back, to second-guess the vision, to question your worthiness. Do not look back. This is why so many choose to remain in the underworld. The abyss can become seductive. After the suffering comes a strange comfort, an identity forged from pain. But the hero must not build a house in the land of shadows. You must return to your village and your family, your world. And this is often the hardest part, for the world has not changed. Only you have. The village may mock you. Your tale may sound like madness. You may feel alone, bearing the boom that no one seems to want. But you are not here to be understood. You are here to be the bridge. Recall the tale of Moses, who descended from the mountain with his face alight, only to find the people worshiping idols. Recall Zarathustra in Nietzsche's parable, returning from the mountain only to be scorned. The returning hero is always met with resistance, but you did not endure the abyss for applause. You endured it for truth. You are now the threshold guardian for others. You become the mentor, the helper, the mapmaker. Your scars become the signposts. And when the next traveler stands trembling at the edge, your story, your presence becomes the torch. But even then, the journey does not end. The cycle begins again, for life is not a line, it is a spiral. You will be called again and again, each time deeper, each time wider, each time more sacred, and each time you will carry more light into the abyss. This is the eternal myth. The hero's journey is not a tale of the past, but a blueprint of becoming. Every culture encodes it. From Gilgamesh to the Bhagavad Gita, from the dream time of the Aboriginals to the vision quests of the Lakota, it is humanity's sacred mirror. So when the next abyss opens, when the light dims, and your name is once more forgotten, do not despair. Remember, this is the path. The real danger is not the darkness. The real danger is refusing to enter it. For if you do not cross the abyss, it will swallow you whole. But if you do, it will remake you in the image of your own soul. And thus the fire spreads. One torch lights another. The myth lives on in you. Let us walk further still into the spiral's sacred breath. For the myth does not live in a single telling, it pulses through the lifeblood of existence, whispering beneath every heartbreak and revelation. In every rite of passage that strips us bare and stitches us anew, now the hero, having returned, finds the world both familiar and foreign. Trees wear the same leaves, but their rustle carries secrets now. The marketplace hums with the same noise, but beneath it the silence of eternity stirs. The hero walks among the ordinary with the extraordinary woven into their bones. This is the liminal state between realms, between stories. Here arises the temptation of forgetfulness, the call to normalcy, the slow fade into routine. Odysseus could have remained on Calypso's island. Gautama could have stayed beneath the Bodhi tree. But the true hero rises not to escape life, but to re-enter it with holy vision. Not to ascend forever, but to kneel and serve. It is now, more than ever, that the gift must be given. What you brought back from the underworld must be spoken, danced, painted, prayed, written in the hearts of others. Otherwise it calcifies, for the boon is alive only in the giving. The fire burns only when shared. And yet, even as you offer it, the abyss watches. Always, it watches. Do not mistake this for punishment. It is promise. The world, too, is a mirror of thresholds. Just as the hero returns to the village, the gods return to the wild, and the soul returns to silence. Creation itself cycles through descent and return the waxing moon, the tides, the seasons, the breath, inhale, exhale, life, death, life again. So you will be called anew. A new wound will open. A deeper question will rise. Not because you failed, but because you grew. The abyss does not disappear. It reveals new depths. Each crossing prepares you for the next. This is how the soul ripens. Think of the Sufi mystics, spinning, arms outstretched, one hand to heaven, one to earth. They do not seek to escape the world, but to root themselves in the divine rhythm pulsing through it. The hero, too, must learn to spin, not in confusion, but in ecstatic knowing, to stand at the center of the cyclone with stillness in the heart. Now we speak of integration, not the ecstasy of vision, but the discipline of embodiment. This is the great forgetting and the great remembering. You must chop wood, carry water with fire in your belly and stars in your eyes. You must build the temple in the marketplace. For what is the use of having glimpsed eternity if you cannot hold space for another's pain? What use is the crown of light if you cannot sit with a child who is afraid of the dark? The hero's journey matures into humility, into presence, into the quiet miracle of bearing witness. You become the sacred vessel, the grail, not by conquest, but by capacity. You are the cup that holds mystery. You are the bread broken and shared. You are the open gate through which others may glimpse their own reflection in the mirror of myth. And this, dear one, is the subtle art of becoming not a hero in the tales of old, but a living threshold, one through whom the world remembers itself. The abyss will call again, and you will answer, not as the one who fears, but as the one who knows, and in knowing, you become light for others. So hold the torch high, for somewhere, even now, another soul stands at the edge, trembling. They do not know they are the hero. They do not yet see that the dragon is their own unloved self. But your flame may light the first step, and that is enough. That is everything. That is how the myth survives. And so, the final wave rises, not as an end, but as the deep breath before the next, becoming. For the ultimate lesson the myth teaches is this: there is no final arrival, there is only deepening. Each time we think we have arrived, the soul whispers further, deeper, truer. This is the mystery encoded in every sacred text, every ancient rite, every whisper of the wind through the stones of forgotten temples, that what we seek is not a destination, but a state of attunement, a holy readiness, the openness to be undone, remade, and given again to the world. To walk the hero's journey is not to rise above the world, but to live within it more fully, with eyes that see both the seen and the unseen, with a heart that can hold paradox, beauty, grief, and grace all at once. You become, at last, a vessel vast enough for the soul of the world. Here is the secret: the abyss is not against you. It is the midwife of your soul. Every fall, every death, every dark night is the divine's rough hand shaping the clay of your becoming. The pit is not punishment, it is passage. Do not curse your sorrow. Do not flee your pain. Let it do its sacred work. Let it burn away all that is not eternal. For what survives the abyss is truth. What endures is the soul, and the soul, once forged, becomes a beacon. The great myths were never about gods and monsters alone. They were maps of the human spirit, schematics for the unfolding of consciousness, codes of courage hidden in allegory, and now they are your inheritance. You walk in the footsteps of Gilgamesh, of Arjuna, of Persephone, of Jonah. You wear the ash of the phoenix. You carry the silence of the Buddha's gaze. You are the next verse in the endless chant of becoming. When you cross the abyss and return, you do not return as who you were. You return as the teacher, the poet, the priestess, the sage, but not in title, in being. The myth has entered your marrow. You are now a story, living itself, echoing beyond time, and still you must love. Still you must plant gardens. Still you must lose and laugh and carry groceries and forget your keys and break your heart again. For the sacred is not found outside of life, it is hidden within it. The greatest journey is not to escape this world, but to hallow it, to see through its skin to the shining core, to kiss the ordinary and call it divine, to make every act a prayer, every breath a ritual, every moment a myth unfolding, you will forget. And then remember, you will fall and then rise again and again, for that is the dance. And one day, when the final threshold arrives, when the body loosens and the breath fades, you will cross yet another abyss. But by then, you will not be afraid. You will know the terrain. You will smile at the gatekeeper. You will say, I have died before. I have walked through fire. I have kissed the dark and found the light within it. I am ready, and the abyss, no longer hungry, will bow. For it, too, will recognize you. You are not its victim. You are its kin. You are the one who crossed. So now, beloved one, go, live the myth, speak the sacred, bear the flame, for the world waits, trembling. For those who have crossed the abyss and returned with stars in their blood and silence in their smile, the time is now. The path is yours. The story continues, and you are the story.